President Trump is calling tomorrow Liberation Day as he expands his trade war with new tariffs. Now, it's still not clear which countries will be impacted or when exactly the new levies will go into effect. Still, many Americans worry they will push already high consumer prices even higher.
We are going to be very nice by comparison to what they were. The numbers will be lower than what they've been charging us, and in some cases, maybe substantially lower.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand is following all of this for us and joins us from the White House this morning. Natalie, good morning to you. Some of these tariffs remain a mystery, which is quite shocking. What details is the administration sharing?
Good morning, Errol. Yeah, details remain unclear, even though we know that these will be reciprocal tariffs. So in theory, the U.S. will impose duties on countries that impose duties on U.S. exports or products. As you heard the president say there, he says that some of these tariffs will be lower, or he said substantially lower than what other countries charge us. But again, a lot of people waiting for the specifics here. And Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, she was pressed on details yesterday, said she wasn't going to get ahead of the president's announcement. But she did say that his team of trade advisors has been coming up with and presenting plans to the president, and that it will be his decision to make. So we'll have to wait and see what that is tomorrow. But this lack of clarity is making it really difficult for business owners and individuals to plan.
That wait and see, Natalie, is tough for business owners. I was speaking with some friends recently who say inflation is making things difficult, and now they're kind of contending with potentially a customer base that will have less money to spend. What are business owners telling you?
Right. Yeah, I checked in with a longtime restaurateur here in Northern Virginia yesterday, Tony Stafford, who owns a fish restaurant, Ford's Fish Shack. And he told me that right now, around 40% of his seafood comes from Canada. So he's extremely worried about tariffs, about a potential trade war that represents around $1.5 million a year that he spends on buying seafood from outside of the United States. And he's extremely nervous. This comes at a time when restaurant owners, business owners have kind of been struggling in these rocky waters for years now, going back to COVID. He says now, with tariffs, he's just not going to be able to absorb that added cost on his own. Take a listen to some of our conversation.
Consumers are going to see price increases. They've already seen price increases, a lot of price increases. You know, it's been 30, 40, 50% over the last 3 years. We're going to see that again, 20, 25, 30% to combat these tariffs, or until we find suitable in the United States producers can produce the same items we're buying outside. We have to pass it along. That's what ways to save labor. We'll be looking at ways to save labor, ways to save maybe even shrinking some hours, some operational hours. You know, I don't really want to get into smaller portions or changing menu items.
So he's kind of looking at all options right now while he tries to figure out the exact impact to his bottom line, what he will have to pass along to customers of his. And, you know, the administration has argued that a goal of theirs is to bring more production back to the United States. He said he will look for U.S.-based suppliers, maybe Maine, for instance, instead of Canada. But he also wonders whether they will be able to keep up with the increased demand. That's one reason he had to look elsewhere, you know, to begin with, Errol.
And Natalie, on another topic, the Trump administration's trying to terminate TPS, that temporary protected status for Venezuelans. A federal judge just blocked that. But what does this mean for the hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans shielded by it?
Yeah, it means that the administration's decision to roll back or lift those protections for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans is now postponed. The federal judge ruled that the administration's move will be delayed pending this court case playing out and being argued on the merits. This is a program that was expanded under the Biden administration. Now, the Trump administration is trying to end some of these protections, but this federal judge in his ruling said that the way that the Trump administration has done this is really unprecedented, that there's never been this abrupt termination of a program like this without a significant wind down period. He also noted some of the DHS secretary's language around Venezuelan migrants, saying, many of them are alleged gang members, saying that, that is acting on a basis of a negative group stereotype. So the bottom line is this is a court case that is now going to continue to play out. Department of Homeland Security, we don't have a statement from them yet. We'll have to wait and see whether the administration appeals.
All right, Natalie, thank you for all of that reporting. We appreciate it.